Welcome to Woodland Chapel. It's so good to see all of you here this morning. We have a very special speaker, Jerry Braza, and we will be introducing him a little later. At this time, we'd like to look at some announcements which are in the program. Is there anyone joining us for the first time? Yes, oh, wonderful. And if Michelle, could you get a? Oh, you got a packet. Good. Explains a little bit about who we are and what we do. We have a soup for the soul today. You've come on a wonderful day. We're going to have a little refreshment afterwards. It is a fundraiser, and we ask for $3 per person. Unless you'd like to give more, of course. Well, we accept $100 bills and everything. The workshop this afternoon is going to be a little different than advertised. We're going to have 4 questions which Jerry has provided us, and we'll discuss them at 1 o'clock in the library for all who'd like to come up. Refocus, Reframe, and Self-Care Workshop is next Sunday. Our very own Cheryl Ostrander will be presenting, and it is good to sign up in the library to help prepare for materials. Our Capital Pride Day preparation, craft day, and such is happening next on the second Saturday in April the 12th, from 11 to 3. There are volunteer sign-up sheets for those who responded to the survey. Do you remember the survey we took in church about a month ago, and everybody had a chance? Well, there were quite a few people that said they'd like to volunteer. Now you can sign up in various areas to volunteer. We'd love to have your name and phone number, and it will organize things. There are confidential prayer request forms in the pews, if you'd like to use them. Let's see, I think that's about the only, any other announcements?
We
Yes.
have an announcement.
What's that?
On April 7th, Monday evening at 7 o'clock, Blaine and I are doing a concert, providing a concert at Beaverton Unity. And anybody that wants to drive up to Portland, you can be there with us and have a wonderful time of song and story and journey to awakening. Beaverton Unity Church in
That was in Beaverton?
Yes.
At Unity
7
Church.
p.m. at the Unity Church there.
Sweet. And what time is it?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And what day a week?
It's a Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Monday evening, is April 7th at 7 p.m.
All right.
You could carpool. Come see us
Yeah.
for a whole hour.
That's the first Sunday,
First
Monday. After the first Sunday.
I think that Blaine and Annie are going to lead us in a congregational song at this time.
Please
So please
stand.
stand and enjoy
this-
the lyrics are in the program.
This is
Insert.
a song we introduced 2 weeks
Oh.
ago, so we want to repeat it so that you can be one of our regulars.
All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. I've been set free, I'm released. I've been set free, I'm released. The burden of my past has gone away at last. I am set free, I'm released. Sweet rain that washes me clean. Sweet rain that washes me clean. The burden
Creates
of
all things
into my life it brings. Sweet rain that washes me clean. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we'll just take a minute now and just quiet your hearts and quiet your minds. This is a call and response meditation song, so Blaine will start and then we'll respond.
Still my mind,
Still my mind,
be at peace
be at peace.
in my awakening.
In my awakening,
I release
I release
with my heart.
with my heart,
Free my soul
free my soul.
in my awakening.
In my awakening,
I am whole.
I am whole.
Om Shanti, 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 Om. As I love,
As I love,
as I give,
as I give,
in my awakening,
in my awakening,
I choose to live.
I choose to live.
Give me strength
Give me strength
to shine my light
to shine my light.
in my awakening.
In my awakening,
Heal my sight.
clear my sight.
Om Shanti, 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 Om.
As we open up our hearts this morning, looking at the truth of who we are, that we are aspects of this one power, of this universal intelligence, ready always to answer any desire, any need that we put forth. And knowing that we are these aspects, that we reflect God, that our actions reflect who we are. And as we go forth today, I just know each heart is open and receptive to the message that is going to be put forth today, and that everybody has so much compassion and love in their hearts for every person present, that we just open our minds to the new thought and we open our hearts to the new words. And with this, I have so much gratitude in my heart for every person present, for every person that's watching us, for every person in the whole world. My gratitude is just open to all. And I just know that as I release my word to the law, that it is already in the mind of God, that it is already so. So with this, please join me in saying, and so it is. I'd like to share with you the affirmation for the day. The more I open my heart to the goodness around me, the more goodness I see. And the more goodness that I see, the more goodness I receive. And so it is.
It's always good to pray. For quite some time now, we've had volunteers read from this wonderful Science of Mind magazine. Do you know what I'm talking about? If you don't know, get on board. It's a good one. We carry it here, and it's available. But today I'm privileged to read from the January section in this little magazine, a part of an article written by Raymond Anderson. It has to do with the flow of coming and going, and consciousness and love. He starts with these words. We often talk about being in the flow, going with the flow, but we don't talk often about the paradoxical awareness that we cannot, in fact, be out of the flow. We say God's all there is. If that is, in fact, what we believe, and what we teach, and if it's true, doesn't that mean that everything that has ever been, has now, and will ever be, including you and me, it's inextricably not only part of this divine flow, but actually expressions of it. Flow shows up in our entire biological mechanism. Our breathing, our circulating blood, and electric signals sent through our nervous system, they're all demonstrations of flow, just as we are demonstrations of flow. Eating, digesting, eliminating. The entire period expressed as the dash between our date of birth and our date of transition is an undeniable expression of and going with the flow. We usually refer to a specific aspect, such as being in the flow of abundance, being in the flow of love, or going with the flow of our intuitive wisdom. We refer to these as life-affirming. With many refer what is called positive, because life flowing demonstrates our cooperation with the universe. It's on the move. No resistance. Or as some would say, we're not blocking our blessings. And so as I jump ahead with a brief summarization, to embrace the nature of life itself, we must come to understand the truth is the love stays. It never leaves. Love has no ending. Death does not stop the energy of love. Ask any physicist. Energy can neither be created nor can it be destroyed. When a cloud dissipates, what happens to the water? It's not gone, it just changed form. And this goes for you and me or any other human being on the planet. And so I close with this affirmation that says, the light and the love, power, and the presence in divine dimensions forever flows around me, within me, and through me to light my way with guidance and clarity and trust in forever being the expression of the flow of the divine on this planet. And so it is.
I tend to question all I know, and then it's on with the show. Now, how are you today? What's been heavy on your mind? And how do you propose we find the answers to what you're looking for? Who knows the answers to your questions? Who knows the way? Who knows the answers to your questions? Who knows the way? So now we begin. We let go of all that's been. Just ask, answers will appear. Deep in your heart, questions are the place to start. Relax. I think you know your way. And the questions simply open up your mind. With the answers, your eyes will see where once you were blind. All of life is filled with searching for the right answer and questions. You know the answers to your questions. You know the way. You know the answers to your questions. You know the way. So challenge your life and keep the edge upon the knife. Remember what this life is for. Nothing stays the same. You and I, we play the game and wonder, is there any more? And the questions simply open up your mind. And with the answers, your eyes will see where once you were blind. All of life is filled with searching for the right answers and questions. Let's sing. You know the answers to your questions. You know the way. You're getting it. You know the answers to your questions. You know the way. So let's own this. Put our hands on our hearts, and we're going to sing, I know. I know the answers to my questions. I know the way. I know the answers to your questions. I know the way. You know. You know the way. We know. We know the way.
are privileged indeed this morning to have a message from Jerry Braza. Jerry, for those who might be on the internet, is for over 35 years a Dharma teacher in the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh and Professor Emeritus of Western Oregon University. Yesterday in the morning, his wife Kathleen made her transition into the greater life. And Jerry is going to share with all of us some lessons from the most precious and sacred journey. Please join me in welcoming Jerry Braza.
Dear Thai, Thai is a Vietnamese name for teacher. Thich Nhat Hanh was my teacher. Plus many other people, including all of you, are teachers for each other. I appreciate coming back here, Reverend Moore, Reverend Don, and others. We had this as our home for the River Sangha for 22 years. Right in that library, till COVID came around, and so this has been a home for us, and I so appreciated that. I love that song. I was supposed to do a workshop after this, and so I gave 4 questions to Don, or to Reverend Moore, and I said, you can handle this. And after hearing that song, you know the answers to the questions. So you don't even need to show up. I mean, just have some soup. Anyways, whatever you choose to do. Somebody asked, am I a Catholic or a Buddhist? Well, I have Catholic roots. And so when I talk to Catholics, I'm a CB, Catholic Buddhist. And of course, when I talk to Buddhists, I'm a B, Buddhist Catholic. Put a little emphasis on the group. You have to meet people where they're at. Dear Kathleen, I want to dedicate this message to you today. Recently, I gave some talks about famous teachers. And here's my ego coming out, the only part of my ego in the talk. So I had the opportunity to have Ram Dass as my first Buddhist teacher. I had the opportunity to study with Jack Kornfield, a Buddhist teacher. I had the opportunity to learn from Thich Nhat Hanh, who died several years ago. Yet the greatest opportunity I had was to have Kathleen as my teacher. She taught me more than the others because our partners, our friends, our teachers, we can know these spiritual ideas, yet it's nice to get called on it. They make us, Kathleen made me honest. You really believe that? So I stand on, besides Kathleen, my ancestors and many others who helped me to come here today. During the past 6 years, Kathleen had dementia and Lewy body, Alzheimer's and Lewy body, two forms of dementia. I never realized how important it is for each of us to have a practice, so when it comes to a time like this, we can truly be present for our loved ones. Because this is the graduate course. Truly, the deepest teaching we get is when a person we love is dying. During the past weeks, Kathleen was in a process of transitioning. The hospice nurse, I asked her a week ago, I said, what's the trajectory here? And they said, well, right now she's transitioning. Part of her was aware when she opened her eyes, when you held her hands, she might squeeze it. She had some awareness. And we all know that no matter where people are at, they hear us, regardless of what stage they're in. The next stage is active dying. And she was in that stage for 3 or 4 days. I have a story to say, talk about hospice. I was telling Kathleen when she was put on hospice a couple weeks ago that she's going to have comfort care. And because I couldn't use the word. A few minutes later, Kathleen says, my nurse told me I'm going to be on hospice. And I said, that's wonderful. I'm so glad you know that, because you have to know about Kathleen. She was a thanatologist. A thanatologist is a person who studies thanos, the study of grief. And she knew that, and she studied with some of the best people. She even taught with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and Rabbi Harold Kushner recommended her video. And so she had some good people on her side. The other morning, around 8 a.m., part of my family was staying with us. We decided we better get over there to see how Kathleen's doing. She made it through the night. So we walked into the room, and I noticed immediately an ashen-colored face. Maybe you've been around people when they go through the dying process. We noticed that her respiration rate, or her oxygen consumption was 50. We noticed that her respiration rate was sort of low, maybe 4 per minute. That's low. Normal is 12. And then we watched her respiration, and it soon stopped. And we all knew that she died. So I was so fortunate to be there for that experience, as some of you may know if you've been there for a loved one. I have to tell you a little more about Kathleen with the hospice. When she signed up for, when they signed her up for hospice, she was still alert enough. And they said, what is your religion? And she said, kindness. That's a song that's coming later. How synchronistic. But isn't that a wonderful religion? If we all had a religion of kindness, we wouldn't have wars and all that kind of stuff. We'd just be kind to one another. And so this, to me, was quite beautiful. Today I'd like to share some of my ideas, not my ideas, but a conglomerate of thoughts around love, what love really is, at least from my perspective. But first, I asked the question, and this is a question that we should know. When our life is over, if we're going to be asked a question, or we should ask it of ourselves, did we love well? And maybe that might be the question. And we can do something about that now. We can love well, because we don't know. We don't know how those days. I thought Kathleen would be with me for 3 or 4 years. We were planning a few things. This was 3 months ago. But then she started letting go of a lot of different parts of herself. She let go of who she was. That's the hardest thing. She had no longer meaning and purpose in life. She let go of the ability to read, the ability to communicate, the ability to connect. But she didn't lose the ability to listen. When she came to Windsong, which is a beautiful place, Wallace Road, it's a Montessori system, and they asked people to be involved. Now, some people cut lettuce. I wouldn't trust myself or anybody with that job because they're using these big knives. Some people set the table. Some people sang, and some people led other groups. And they said, Kathleen, what do you want to do? And she wasn't sure. And I said, how about if you listen? Be a listener. There was a book by Taylor Caldwell, The Listener. I recommend it. And she kind of nodded, okay. And then the nurse who was interviewing her for this asked her, she wasn't saying I'm going to interview. She said, well, you know what? My father just died. And it's right before Thanksgiving. What would you suggest? And all she said was, set a place for your father at the table. Now, that's good insight. So you can share some insights. And then she said, okay, I have some unfinished business with my dad. What should I do? And she said, write him a letter. Wow. The nurse said, okay, you're a listener now. And there were a lot of people there, and I think she may have listened to a few people. She didn't have enough time to get into the job position. So be aware that whatever we do could be our last time with that person. And so I started to realize that at first I thought it would be our last years, and then I thought it would be our last months, and then I thought it would be our last days, and now I thought in the last 3 or 4 days it could be our last breaths. That's how fast things happen. So that question that is asked, that I love well, I have no doubt about it in my mind that Kathleen loved well. Because when I asked the nurses and the caregivers, I said, what do you remember about Kathleen? And several of them said, I remember her kindness. Others said, I remember her compassion. Well, that's a lot. If people could say that about all of us, I would be feeling rich if they could say that about me. That is a beautiful token or a notice of appreciation for somebody. So that question is a good one. Now, people ask, what do you and Kathleen believe? Did you have any models or ideas? Well, I don't know if Kathleen would call it a model, but I would like to talk about what the Buddhists believed were the best, and it's the best template about love called the Brahma Vihars. In the time of the Buddha, a person asked the Buddha, how do I get to be with Brahman, a god? And he said, practice the Brahma Vihars. And I'm going to share 4 Brahma Vihars with you and share how Kathleen and I practiced those. The first Brahma Vihar is love. First Brahma Vihar is loving kindness. And it goes like something like, love is more than a feeling. Love is an action. Loving kindness in the African tradition everybody, when they meet, when a couple first meets, they create a song while they're making love to create a baby. And that song is the song that they repeat throughout their entire life. Now Kathleen and I had a song by the Carpenters. You, remember that song? You are the one who makes me happy. And I would be playing that over and over again in the room, and I think I got a smile from her because that's a song we first danced to. But I think everybody needs a song, and I think everybody should know their song. And that's our goal in life, is to get to know the songs of the people that we love. Loving kindness is the sole intention of making every interaction for keeping the best wishes and goodwill of the others the foremost in your life and in your heart. I had a practice when I went to the center, Windsong. I would meet with people when Kathleen was sleeping in the cafeteria, residents. And I made it just a goal to do a short bio on each of these people. And so when I talked to them, I would say, I won't say names here, but I would say, certain name, the baker. Oh my goodness, you must have made good donuts. And this person could hardly eat their food, and they started to smile. And this petite woman, about 5 feet tall, she was in the Air Force during Vietnam. And she was a pilot, flowing across the ocean. And then she became a commercial pilot. I said, wow, I wish I could have flown on your airplane. Maybe I did, because I flew a lot. And I learned, there's a woman that dressed to the hilt. And I'd say, wow, are you a dresser? And I said, you are beautiful. And her daughter said she was a fashion designer at Nordstrom's. So I am suggesting that we learn people's stories. Because when I see these people, and this could be people down the street, when we see these people, we have something more to say, something to connect with. And that, to me, is beautiful. So the first of the Brahma vihars, loving kindness. Getting to know your beloved, getting to know their song, getting to know who they are. We even have a little plaque in our home. My beloved knows my song and sings it when I forget. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to leave it in that room of ours and remember Kathleen, because she knew my song. And beyond the Carpenter's song, she knew more about me than any other person in the world. And I hope I learn more about her. The second Brahma Vihar is compassion. The intention and capacity to relieve the suffering in others. The word compassion comes from the word derivation kam, means with, and passion means suffering. So when we say we're compassionate, we're allowing ourselves to be with the suffering. Yet we just don't be with it. I mean, empathy is noticing the suffering. Compassion is doing something about it. So I see a homeless person, I say, oh, I feel sorry for this person. That's empathy. But that doesn't help. Compassion would help if I choose to give something, or give them a sleeping bag, which I carry in my trunk, or do something that might be actually helpful. So compassion is very important. Elie Wiesel said, never turn away from the face of suffering. So I made that a habit. When I see somebody, I never turn away. I look at them. I may give money to the homeless person, or I may not, but I don't turn away to avoid the suffering. And sometimes I'll give, and sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'm in the wrong lane. I don't want to create an accident. You know that. So we do what we need to do. When we were in India, Kathleen and I took 25 students to India. And we traveled to all these incredible places, very remote. And we'd see the Dalits, which used to be called the untouchables. Dalits are the very poorest of poor. Untouchables is not an appropriate name. But we, in those days, called them untouchables because people literally would be afraid of them. They'd be behind the fence. And we went hiking back to these areas, and our tour guide was a Buddhist and helped us. He said, always look at the person. Always look at the child. And we were on this one hike, and we gave everything away. The fruit in our bag, the Nike hat I remember giving. I had nothing left. But he said, don't worry, just look. And then we created a project called Meditate Educate, because it only costs $40 a year to educate one Indian child. So the compassion that the students gained from this was to do something to relieve the suffering of these students. Kathleen saw a young girl, and she had a big tumor in her mouth. And she was on one side of the bus, and the rest of us didn't see her right away. And she decided to help this girl by going with another woman to the school and asked who this girl was, because everybody, even in India, she was different. She could hardly, I don't know how she ate a big tumor in her mouth. Well, they created a project, and that project was to have reconstructive surgeries and get doctors and other people to help that girl. A couple years ago, she got married. I have a pre and a post picture. She was beautiful all along. My goodness. You could look at her in the eyes, and people were afraid to look at her eyes in the previous times. And she was beautiful. Why? Because Kathleen and a friend created concerts and things to create money, and found doctors that would go there and do surgeries. So never turn away. In India, it's called the glance of mercy. Just look, see the suffering. Feel it in your heart. So when I'd go see Kathleen, I would see, oh my goodness, the pain, the suffering. We got to change this. How can we help? That's where hospice came in, because hospice could give more drugs than Tylenol. And so she was on heavy-duty doses of morphine, but she could not completely leave this world until the suffering was abated. And when that was complete, she had permission then to leave, because she wasn't fighting the suffering, fighting the pain. She was able to leave. The third foundation, or Brahma Vihar, is joy. I like this one. You know, if you're having a wonderful day, probably somebody else touched the seeds of joy in you. And that's been my practice when I go to Windsong. Since I know their story, I look at these people who are challenged. They can hardly eat their food. They're trying to get it. And then when I say something, just for a moment they smile. And we can do that with anybody. They're not beyond help. Some people avoid them because they think they can't connect. But if we know a story and we say something to them for a moment of, as Mother Teresa said, don't worry about doing great things. Do small things with great love. And those small things with great love make a difference in our life when we do that. And if we do things that are joyful, it makes a big difference. So joy is basically a feeling of peace and contentment. I could see that with Kathleen when the family was around and she wasn't even opening her eyes. Her body relaxed more. There was the loving kindness from the family, the compassion from the family. And even though they weren't practicing these Brahma Vihars robotically, they did it intuitively, which helped them and helped her to feel better. Thich Nhat Hanh said, if your relationship does not have joy, it's not a healthy relationship. So be joy givers. That's a part of love. It's something that we can do. Tara Brach said, a Buddhist teacher, that joy arises when we are open to both the suffering and the joy. You see, joy, suffering comes up, but we typically keep the joy and push down the suffering. But you have to have a free exchange, good circulation. Take your hand like this and just go around. That's good circulation. You have a good circulation between joy and suffering. It's circulating. All those feelings come up. You're not pushing anything away. You're not avoiding anything. And when a person's dying, it's right in your face. There's nothing you can avoid unless, and I could see some people couldn't handle it. Some family members would not talk to her. I mean, from a distance or call. It was too much. The word capacity is the term I like. Some people have the capacity to do this, and others don't. Another way to enhance joy is to do what I call linger longer. When you linger longer, you're keeping that joyful moment in your consciousness. And the longer you keep something in your consciousness, the deeper that quality becomes. If you watch too much news, stay away from it. That creates anger, causes frustration. The longer, I can tell you what a person is like if I ask one question. How many hours of news do you watch? And what channels? But I'm not going there. But you know what I mean. And same is true with CNN and all the channels. I can't deal with it anymore. In fact, what I do is look at news. In the old days, we didn't have all these channels. The Word of God was passed on through communication. And to me, this is the best communication we can have during this time of division and problems. So I listen to the person who cuts or works on my garden, a Hispanic man, a lovely man, and he tells me about the fear that his family has. And I listen to government workers and hear about the fear that they have. And I listen to people, and that's all I know. But I don't want to listen to the news about it because then it becomes an editorial. It becomes an illusion. It becomes, and we want to stay away from what I call mental formations. Mental formation is something you do over and over again. So if you watch too much news again, not good. But like I said, if you keep these people in your heart, and it's like I wanted some of my guests to stick around a couple more days. They weren't all the same, but they were good. But the ones that were really positive and helpful, I wanted them to stay. They were all good. Yet different people enter our lives. And so I love the group that was so helpful. And everyone tries to be helpful, but again, some people don't have the capacity. Another and final Brahma Vihar is that of called equanimity. Equanimity. Equanimity means non-attachment, non-discrimination, even-mindedness. And that is a very important quality. Rick Hansen, a neuropsychologist, says equanimity is a Latin meaning even in mind, having an even mind. You don't go too deep, or you don't go too high. You want to stay equanimous. I talked to a group, Alcoholics Anonymous. I said, we need a group called Equanimous Anonymous, where we can, if we have equanimity, we're not going off the charts. I talked to a person a week ago, and just something came up about something that I thought was worthwhile, and they just blew up. And unfortunately, it was a political thing for them, and I was just repeating some facts. Like the children in malaria are not getting enough of a vaccine. Children who have malaria are not getting the vaccine they need. I'm sorry. And so there's little buttons that people have, and we have to understand them. And that's what's really important in our communication today, to understand others. So, the circuit breaker for that is the equanimous equanimity. It's a way of bringing us back to a normal temperature, a normal place. And finally, I'd like to talk about what is your heart's deepest aspiration for yourself and others. So I'm going to ask you a few things and share a few ideas. I have some deep aspirations. I learned during the last 3 or 4 months that I do, after my meditation, I call it spiritual triage. When I went to the hospital for a condition, I was watching. You have to go through the triage system here, priorities. So you know how you can get in fast. But to me, spiritual triage is I'm thinking, who in my world could use some extra support today? And what can I do? There's so many people that need help, but some people need it more than others. So that's one priority that I have. I have another priority is to have a sacred word. When Gandhi died, I was at a place where he walked from his workshop in Delhi to a garden spot, and when he got to that garden spot, he was shot by an assassin, and the words out of his mouth were Ram. Ram. Ram is Hindi for God. So I kind of liked it because I loved India. I've been there a few times. So I've taken on the word Ram, and I use that at different times. In the middle of the night, I can't fall asleep. I say Ram. 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 Can you imagine what would happen if a plane was going down and they had the black box recording things? What do you think people would say when they're going into the ocean? It wouldn't be Ram. Because we have to condition ourselves for that moment of death. I wondered what Kathleen might have been saying to herself. Well, one of the things we would always do is this here. We'll give you a card later. Or pass it out now. Yeah, please. Oh, no, pass it out. Thanks. This is slightly different than a one word, but it's the closest thing that Buddhism has to a prayer. It's called metta, or loving kindness. I share it because Kathleen and I would, on the phone, if I wasn't there in person, say it to her at night. And these phrases we repeat to ourselves And I won't go through the whole thing right now, but let me just say, these are loving kindness phrases. And so if we can practice metta, we can, I would say, change the peg. This practice came out of the time of the Buddha, when monks were meditating in the garden at night, and they were fearful because they heard these weird sounds, and they were afraid to be outside. They thought there were spirits or whatever. I can't remember the exact story. And so one person came to the Buddha, and they asked, Buddha, what should we do when we're afraid, when we're in the forest and we don't feel comfortable? He said, practice loving kindness. And that is, I like to use the term embrace and replace. Embrace fear, replace it with something encouraging. So if you want to replace that fear that you have, and fear is underlying everything. Fear is underlying all of our anxiety, all of our troubles. And if we can take phrases like this, and I'll just read the first phrases to you. But like an oxygen mask on the plane, we have to first take care of ourselves. So we say, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I have ease of body and mind. May I have peace. And then you go from may I to you to we and then to all. So encapsulates everybody. So can you imagine, I'm on the phone repeating these, and Kathleen a couple months ago, may I be filled with loving kindness. And I hear her say, may I be filled with loving kindness. And we went through the whole list. It was time to go to bed. It's replacing some of the fear and anxiety, and Kathleen could experience that. So I share that with you. That's a gift on on Valentine's Day. I made these cards because I want to rename it Metta Day. So that is a wonderful way to replace some of the feelings we have. There's another saying, it's called a gata. Gata is like a phrases that we say to ourselves. And it goes like this: I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I am solid, I am free, in the ultimate I dwell. Now, you can find that famous sayings from Thich Nhat Hanh, but here's what I would do when I'd come home from the university. I would open the garage door and I say, I have arrived. And Kathleen would say, are you home? and then I'd say, and then she'd say, are you in the here and now? Oh, yes, with you, my love. I'm always in the here and now. We just played with it. And it was beautiful. There's another component. My deepest aspiration is to continue developing deeper connections. And that is to have Anamkara friends. Anamkara is a Celtic word. And a person by the name of John O'Donohue wrote a book called Anamkara. And he was a Catholic priest that died in his 50s. It's a beautiful prayer book, isn't it? I mean,
Yes, we've seen it here.
blessings, prayers, and blessings. And he has this whole book. He never uses the word God because he doesn't want to singular, I always say, what are God's pronouns? Just to get people to think. But the point is, we need to open our hearts and our minds to all the possibilities. Yet, Anamkara friends are people who shine a mirror up to us. And they tell us what they see. Because I get caught. I lose what's going on. And that's what a group like this can make a difference in. That is the Dharma. At the beginning, you listed in the program Buddha Dharma. Right. That's beautiful. There's Buddha, there's Dharma, and there's Sangha. For you, you would call it, what would there be a key word for instead of Buddha? Buddha means awakened one. What would you have in your lineage here? Okay, consciousness, which includes all, right? Okay, so I'm aware of consciousness. That's an important part of your community. The second part in Buddhism is the Dharma. The Dharma are the sutras, like the scriptures in the Bible. And you have your own principles that you teach. And the Sangha is the community. This is what we practice. Right? Community. So, right. So, it's the community that you have here. And you can't do it alone. So, keep showing up. This is why this is so important. Community makes a big difference. So, find even some more spiritual friends. Not more friends like on Facebook isn't necessary because they're shallow. They're not deep. How about a few friends? Abraham Maslow said self-actualized people only have a couple really good friends. People that they can connect with. Because how much time you have to go deep? You can go shallow with 500 people. Go deep with a few, and you'll find these can be people who can tell you exactly what's going on, not telling something that's not true. Another piece is do small things with great love. Find things in your world that you can do to make a difference. Small things with great love. And then I'm going to end with this idea of continuation. Continuation, in Buddhism, we have, when a person has a birthday, we say, Happy Continuation Day to you. Happy Continuation Day to you. Happy Continuation Day, Reverend Don. Even though this isn't his birthday, you can always get by with continuation. You say, well, it doesn't make any difference. I missed your birthday because you're continuing. Yeah, he's still here. And the deeper concept is, how do I continue for Kathleen? How do you continue for your mothers, your fathers, your lovers, your friends, people that you knew? That is all we have to carry on. There's no body, there's nothing else around but the values that they had in their life. And so if I can practice kindness and compassion that Kathleen exemplified, I will be practicing and being with Kathleen. In the same way, I'm with my mother when I plant tomatoes this spring, because she taught me how to plant tomatoes and how to create compost around it and how to do things like that. So we can be with those people we love if we practice their qualities. Oh, I'm trying to see how much time we have. Is it about right?
Yep. Perfect.
That's a perfect time. Perfect time. I appreciate you all. Thank you for listening. Okay, I'm out of here.
Well done. No, it didn't get one. All right. We have come to the point in the ceremonies and celebrations and honoring of Kathleen and Jerry and all those who've suffered. to recognize that the giving comes from the heart. The giving comes from the essence of who and what we are. And we give this morning in the joy of being alive and knowing what's going on. I also have a little announcement around offering, and that is, in the program, you notice this square box thing. So I understand many people don't carry cash. Many people don't write checks. Many people just point their camera at things and they give money that way. This one will hook you up to our PayPal if you'd like to give. Take it home and give an extra gift. All right, let's now look at the offertory.
We're going to do our song.
You're going to do a song first?
We're going to do a
Okay.
song. My religion is kindness.
That's right.
Oh, yes. This is a special song.
Oh, a special song. Then we'll do this later.
Okay. For Catherine.
Oh, thank you for
Wow. For Kathleen. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Well, everybody has a story. Everyone has pain. We strip away our masks, we find we're really all the same. Little things we say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile of connection, a simple love in touch. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Today I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do to be a radiant child of God? Let my love shine through. Gonna let my heart be my guide to be the best of me. Gonna share my joy, share my love, give it proudlessly. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. It lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Jack and Jill went up that hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came running after. She said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help ease your mind? He said, hold my hand and just be kind. I know I'll be fine. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. It lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you. Religion is kindness. Well, let's be kind to one another and go to our offertory. I've already given an introduction for it, but there is an affirmation in the program, and if you'd like to read it with me or say it from memory. Divine love moving in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Blessed always, blessed always. rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our soul be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Gratitude naturally rises from the heart. When faced with a loving kindness, with the metta, with the joy, with the energy, which is divine life living in it through each of us, we know that life continues into the great forever, and we know that each individual person expresses this love, this kindness, this generosity in the gifts they give this morning, in the gifts they give in life, in the gifts that they are to life. And for this we give thanks. And I ask you to join me in saying, and so it is. If you'd like to stand now, we'll do our prayer of protection. If you don't know the words, they are in the program. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. If you'd like to join hands across the aisle, and we'll sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let these begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Walk in loving kindness always.
I saw that kindness sign and I thought someone in the room. I ripped it off.
That was perfect.
Perfect, yeah, that's our theme for today.
All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. Sweet rain, sweet rain that washes me clean. Sweet rain that washes me clean. The mind creates all things, into my life it brings. Sweet sweet rain that washes me clean. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. Amen. I'm going to shut off all our power here.